This is the house that I grew up in. I've been in this house, or I was in this house for the duration of my young life, from age 2 to about 18. And the house is built on an Indian burial ground. It's incredibly haunted. So I'm going to give you guys a tour of the house to show you, go through different rooms and explain different things that have happened. I guess since we're in this room, we'll start here. That was back in September when my parents were moving out. There's nobody living in this house right now. When my parents were boxing everything up, there was an odd table that was just sitting right here. It was like a smaller table than this. My mom was standing right about where that middle piece is, right there. And the table just flew up and went at her, but it wasn't wide enough to get through that doorway. So it just fell. I was downstairs. I heard this loud crash and a scream. I came running up, and we'll go down the hall here. I've heard people walking down the hall before. My dog, actually, I had like a boyhood dog, was a lab, and she's buried in the backyard, and I've heard a dog walking at night down the hall. She had a very distinct noise with her nails. So we'll go in here. This was my bedroom as a kid. Obviously not anymore. There have been a lot of pounding noises, and I'll tell you one story. Whenever you leave here, they get really sensitive. They just don't like it. I don't know what the deal is. Like, the house is for sale right now, and that's why you guys are coming through here, because the activity just goes, it's like tenfold when there's abandonment or issues of abandonment take place. So I had been away for about 3 weeks in college, obviously, and I came back home one night, and the blinds down here started fluttering about 2 in the morning, and obviously was excited that I was back, and sometimes if you give it commands, it will stop. So I said, "Stop it, I'm trying to sleep," and it stopped. And about 2 seconds later, I can't describe to you, or I can't even begin to describe the force that hit this bed. It was like Hercules punching the ceiling. My bed shot up. I mean, if that were to hit a human being, I can't imagine what that would do. That terrified me. So I flew up, got out, drove back to school, and that was the one defining instance where I knew that this was more than just the average haunting. This was my parents' bedroom in here, and this bed, 2002, we're not too sure what happened. Like I said, there's a very violent ghost in here, and I think I might have brought him into the house with a Ouija board in 2002. I was playing with some friends in the basement, and I looked up some stuff online that was like, how to invoke a spirit or whatever. And so this Ouija board, my mom had a friend that had just passed. He had died of cancer. And this was 2 weeks after his passing. We're playing with this thing. And this Ouija board starts telling me all this stuff about him. And it's, he's got a life with drugs, and he's got problems with hookers and this and that. And it was really disturbing stuff. And so my mom, years later, we were in the car, and she mentioned it to me. And she goes, and I go, "Yeah, I did." She goes, "How did you know that?" I go, "The Ouija board told me." And that night, all the sinks in the basement, I went downstairs later, every sink in the basement was on. And since then, we've had flooding is the one thing that would characterize the spiritual activity in this house. Pipes will explode in the basement for no reason, the sinks will turn on, flooding, and the plumbers will come over and they can't find an explanation. They're just baffled by it. So shortly after that happened, the activity started to get really violent, objects being thrown at people. This bed, when my mom was on it, and my dad actually, shot forward. They said just like in a matter of seconds, just Another night when my mom was laying on it, it was like she said someone pulled a pin, like some kind of a joke. The whole bed just came down. As far as upstairs activity, it doesn't happen too much here. The other thing that happens all over the house is objects will go missing. You'll set something down, you'll turn around, you'll turn back, and it's gone. Sometimes it gets moved, sometimes you'll get it back a month later. Other times, I had a pair of binoculars. I used to like to spy on my neighbors when I was a kid, like little kid games. And they disappeared when I was in 3rd grade, and they reappeared at the last investigation. The house was empty, and one of the investigators walked up to me. I had let him in. She goes, "Hey, we just found this." And it was just sitting on the floor, and it really freaked me out. This is our attic up here. My mom, it goes the entire duration of the house. When my parents were moving, there's, as you can see, just tons of random crap up there. And so my mom was cleaning some stuff out in the far bounds of the house, and my dad is standing where I am having a cigarette, and he hears something rustling around up there. And he looks, and he sees something go by, and he thinks it's maybe the cat. We have a cat. And he goes, "Lily?" And that's the cat's name. And he's looking around, nothing. And he looks over, and there's a box that was right about where my finger is, like right there. And he said it was like a cat, but it had no hair. It had big glowing eyes and a human being's smile. He said it was white on this part, red on this part, and his grin was like He said it was like the Alice in Wonderland cat, basically.
Lisa did have a talk with his father, and she did validate that it sounded totally legit. He was totally kind of messed up from that for.
Yeah, that scared him.
Anytime after that.
I mean, if I saw that, see, he didn't even know what he was looking at. He thought he was looking at like just some regular animal. And so he's looking at this thing, and he said, as like, you know, it's looking over a box, and its head, like, you know, like maybe it's like peering up kind of, but it's just the neck, and it kept going and going and going and going and going. And he heard some rustle over here, and he looked back, and it was gone. And he went up, and there was nothing there. My mom had no idea. So that's the most incredible thing that's been sighted in this house. Down here, it was shortly after we moved in. This was the first incident that he had sighted or noticed that the house was haunted. He said he woke up, lights were on. We used to have these mirrors out in the hall, and there's a bloody face staring at him from the mirror. So he didn't sleep downstairs after that. Hi guys. Here, we were in that far room down there. It was maybe 1 in the morning, and we had been here for a couple of hours. And we heard some noises coming from this room, just like some cluttering, like, you know, sort of thing. So we, one person comes down here, my friend Jimmy, and he said he heard some clawing, like something rubbing claws right here. And he went running back down to tell us. We came back in here, and the room reeks of urine. And so, like, what do you guys smell that? Like, what is that? We look around, and we trace the source. It's right here. We pull this up, and as you can see, you know, the original mattress is gone. The mattress and comforter are soaked with a puddle of urine. Now, there's no animals in the house. It's fresh, and it's ice cold, and it's soaked all the way through into these drawers here. There's some documents that got ruined. We went upstairs, every single picture frame had been tilted. So we took that as a ghost markings territory and left. So the bulk of activity takes place in here. That corner there, we call that the dirty corner. Whenever this house floods, that smells like rotting meat. And then this house, like I said, floods fairly often. Interaction with the thing that was faster than I could see. I'm sitting here playing video games one time, and I see something out of the corner of my eye come running into this room. And it comes and hides right here. There was this chair right here. There was that one there was over here. And so it comes and hides behind the chair here and is giggling. And I get up to look and see what it is. And when I go and look here, there's nothing there. We used to have a cabinet there, and it had these drawers, and the drawers would open and close all like constantly on their own. We also had some blinds over here. Those would flutter about. You'll see people walk by in picture frames sometimes, or like you'll see things out of the corner of your eye that's like faster than you can see. The temperature drops.
All right. It's not okay for any bad spirits to follow us home, hurt us, come into our lives at any point during, before, or after this session here. So we're just going to ask you some questions, and this is a way to communicate.
Any spirits that would like to communicate with us? G. E. T. Get what?
Oh, yeah.
You. Okay.
Oh, wow. I'm not even doing that.
Yeah, I know where that's going.
Yeah,
I,
that
I,
sounds angry.
I don't think I've heard a Ouija board swear at me before.
we'll be in touch.
Alright, yeah, let me know what happens. Alright, thanks for coming, guys.
All right, thanks, Evan.
Okay, take care.